Hello everybody, this is Alex0 again, and I am picking up where I left off on my last tutorial about the basics of Hammer. And yes, I am aware that, at least when I previewed it, my previous video was all the reds were blue. I don't know why. I'll poke around and see if I can fix it. Might just be something on my computer. No idea, but it's still watchable, doesn't really matter. So, anyway. Alright, so, where we were before, I showed you how to use the carve tool, and I said never use it. Now, I didn't explain why you shouldn't ever use it. Now I'm going to. Alright, so, first of all, you can make different shapes. Oops. Like, if you enter the brush tool, you've got arch, block, cylinder, sphere, spike, torus, and wedge. Say you want to carve a cylinder into your plane. Down here. So I grab this and do this. So, now I do tools, carve. Alright, so it's carved. There's a hole in it now. But, look at all this. Look at all that. It's just messy and disgusting. And it makes it really hard to work with, because there's so many different crazy angles that if you want to do something else, it just gets messier and messier. So, there's a much better way to do that. If you have to use carve, control it as much as you can. There's this tool right here, called the clipping tool. Shortcut key Shift-X. Okay. There we go. So, the way this thing works, alright, so say I did this. This side's white, this side's red. I hit enter, red side's gone. So, undo that. Okay. Select it. That's weird. Anyway. Okay, so, and then you can click this to switch it. But, so, say if you want to do, say you want to carve the cylinder into the plane. Alright, so, click on it till it's both white, hit enter, and then suddenly you have, this brush has been separated. So, let's do it again on this side. And again here. And again here. Alright, so now, you have pretty much isolated this. So now you can hit tools, carve, and then suddenly, look at that. Much cleaner, and it's more isolated, so you can control it better, and stuff like that. Also, carve can create things called micro brushes, which essentially fracture your map into way too many tiny pieces and stuff, so that's just messy. Alright, so, we're going to do that. To carve this door out, we're going to do that on here. So, hit Shift-X, make sure both sides are white. This, boom, boom. Alright, so, I just use that as a guide. Move this out, boom, delete that. All gone. And you get that part, which you can just delete now. So, alright, now, so you have your hole in the wall. So, but say you want a door. Alright, well, let's make a door then. Let's browse for a door texture. It doesn't really matter what it is, just, it can be anything, really. Okay. So, let's make a brush of a door. That's a cylinder. I hate it when it does that, because it never switches back to what you were using before, or anything. Or it switches, never mind. Okay, so there's your door texture. Alright, so, I'm going to teach you how to do two things here. First of all, you can do to entity or Shift-T, depending. I usually like Shift-T. And then up here, you want to type in func door, func_door. Alright, now you've got, let's put in a name, because I'm going to do something else here too. Put in a name as, I don't know, door 1. Alright, so there you go. Now, you've got some other things, your speed. It's how fast it moves. Obviously, 100 is very slow. 800, 1000 is generally pretty quickly. Alright, and you have delay before reset. It's how long after the door opens that it shuts. Depending on what kind of door it is, like for this kind of door, say it was a door out of spawn, I would actually set it up a bit differently. So let's put this bad example. Say it's just a door that wanted to open and then shut. Maybe a second. Alright, so, okay, now the lip is the really important part. Or, yeah, okay. So, the lip is how far you want the door to move and in what direction. So, alright, in this context, let's see. The easiest way I have found to measure lips is to go into the selection tool and then just drag in the selection. It's not. I actually meant the brush tool. There we go. And also something you want to know, this center, middle, right here, is where it moves from. So, I want to line that up there. Say I want it to move just like down there. So, the lip would be 128. That's just an easy way to do it. You can double click on here. But, I don't know why Hammer does this, but in order to get it to move the same way you set the direction, you have to keep negative 128, negative whatever your number is, don't ask me why. You can reverse the direction and have a positive number if you so desire. I never do. Anyway, so over here you can point the direction. I think the direction correlates, like say I wanted to go this way, it correlates with this screen, so it would go this direction. Anyway, reset that. And then you've got up and down. So I want it to move down. Alright, so let's apply that. And over here we want actually uncheck touch opens and use toggle. Touch opens, you know, obviously if you touch it, it opens. Toggle, it works a bit differently in Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. If you're mapping a Half-Life 2 Deathmatch and you want a trigger func, you know, like a func multiple or whatever, to open or shut this door, then it has to be, toggle has to be checked and nothing else can be checked. Don't ask me why. But in TF2, it makes it so that if it opens, it stays open until you shut it manually. And, you know, so let's uncheck it. Because we want to do something kind of special. Alright, so okay, now what we want to do, open up the entity, and now do a filter activator TF team. Make two of them. The first one, call it, or set the team to red, and I always call mine like filter red, or whatever, you can call it whatever, just so long as you remember, it doesn't really matter. Second one, set the team to blue, and then filter blue. Alright, so those can be put anywhere. Entities like that don't show up in the middle. So, alright, now we want, say we want to make, say this is a spawn door, and we want to make, and we want to make it so only the blue team can open. So let's browse in here, look for the trigger texture, open this up. Let's set this to a bit smaller, so I can, okay. Now make that. Now, okay, the trigger texture, just this brush, will show up in game, and you don't really want it to. So let's make this an entity called trigger multiple. This deals with like players that touch it, and you know how many players touch it, not really, but you know, stuff like that. So then you go down to filter name, and if we want only blue people to open it, hit filter blue. Then go up here, add an output, say on start touch, and the name of your door, which in this case is door 1, say open. And then there's two different ways to close it. You can do on end touch, which is when one person stops touching it, or you can do on end touch all, which is when everybody stops touching. So, oops, I'm just gonna do just end touch. Oops, come back here. And then the name of your door, and then close. Alright, so now that will act like a spawn door. So, I mean, you know, try this one. And since the door does not have touch open enabled, then that'll work fine. Okay. Alright, well, I think that's a fairly good point to stop this video, because I'm running out of time again. I seem to talk for forever. Anyway, alright, next time I will deal with more complex assigning of textures using the face edit sheet. Quite powerful, very useful. Actually pretty easy to use. So, tune in next time.